welcome to my channel. It's Rebecca, also known as 4Kids at 147, and welcome to another bonus WIP chat. So yeah, it is my plan to try and do some WIP chats here and there and add them in with the schedule of sort of videos that I've got coming up. And today I'm actually working on one that the unboxing's not gone up yet, but it's a small fox, this one. I got a series of small diamond paintings from Home Fun to show that some paintings do work in the smallest sizes, and I thought we'd do today's WIP and chat with one of these, because why not? So I hope you've got your brew and your either kit of choice, or maybe you're kitting up or kitting down. Excuse the slurping, but yeah, get yourself ready and we'll go through your questions that have been asked on the video from last time. And I think there's also been maybe some questions that I may have taken from the Facebook group. So I'm going to work on this one. It's got some quite big sections of the same colour. So we'll throw some in this diamond painting tray. This has got a little bit of static on this one. But these are one of the big white trays. I did get myself some more so that I could have one in my craft room as well as in the front room. So you will find that it's a different tray to what I would normally work on, one of these small trays when doing a WIP and chat, but I'm on a big tray. So how is everybody doing? How's everybody found the last week? I know if they're in the UK, the weather's not been too nice up until today. So I'm filming this on Saturday the 13th, which at the moment is a very nice day here in the UK. I've been able to get back on top of my washing. But I know that this won't go up until tomorrow. So I'm trying to keep these, maybe it'll go up tonight. We'll have to see how long the editing takes. It's quite late on. Sorry, I've just put new wax in this pen. Yeah, it's quite late on, so I'm not sure whether this will actually get to go up tonight or whether it will go up tomorrow. But I'm just trying to make sure that my first set of square drills is lined up properly. If any don't line up properly or don't nudge properly, then quite often I will just take them up and re-put them down. Or you can put across here maybe a little credit card or a ruler or something to help you get the first set straight, and then the rest tend to fall into place. But I'm working on colour 3839 for anybody that's interested, and on this painting it is symbol Z. I say there's quite a lot of this, so I figured this would be the best way to not be constantly changing diamonds, but to show you, or to have a WIP and chat with something a little bit different, rather than me doing a WIP and chat with you always with the Heaven and Earth designs, which I do enjoy doing, but sometimes it's nice to vary it up a little bit. So at this current time I am working on both these small diamond paintings that I've recently got from Home Fun. I'm also working on, I don't know if you've seen my video with my current diamond paintings, which of course is constantly changing because this one wasn't on it. This has only arrived this week. And there will be a video unboxing it. You just might not see it for a week or two, depending on what's scheduled. I'm working on the very big image of two little lovebirds in between some branches. It's a round diamond painting, and I got it quite a while ago. It will have been last year, and I've not got round to starting it, and I thought it's about time some of these paintings that I've had for a while get done. So I'm working on that big one, but of course with it being a big one it's taking a while, so I thought I would mix in some of these small ones which I can then do some kitting up videos. So there will be a kitting up video coming for this. I've recorded that today, but of course that will go into my scheduling, whereas these WIP and Chats I try to get up more real time so that anything I'm talking about is current. And I've completely lost my train of thought. So yes, so what I'm working on at the moment is a mixture of the two. I've decided that I am going to do like one of these little small ones, because this one is only 15 by 15. Gives me a break from doing the round, gives me a break from doing the same image. And then I'm going to do a few sections on my big round painting, and then I'm going to do another small one. So I thought I would do a WIP and Chat while doing the beginning of this painting, because it doesn't take too long to do at all really. Also gives me chance to do some different ways of doing square paintings, different techniques. So as you can see here at the moment now, I am skipping, so I am doing every other symbol, and this whole block round here is all these Z's. So I've completely lost checkerboard, that's it, I completely lost the name of it then. So I'm going to do the checkerboard method. Now I have done a complete full straight edge first down both sides, that just grounds in my diamond painting, but then I'm going to do the checkerboard method. So what you find is you have to be a little bit more, it takes a little bit longer when you're doing the first section of it, which is every other diamond, but then when you go in fill in the gaps, it can be a lot quicker, because the diamond will sort of force itself into the right place, and it can also straighten up some of your other diamonds if they're not too straight, which you'll see as we go along. So for anybody that's wondering, this is also a new pen. Very nice. This is a wooden pen from a UK seller, and I will have an unboxing on this as well, so you'll get all the information on how much. But I wanted to try it out, and I'm really liking it. And now I'm telling you that I'm really liking it, I'm even thinking that I may order another, but we'll see. Sorry, I'm just trying to nudge and trying to twist this diamond a little bit straighter, because it had gone a little bit off kilter. So quite often I'll just use the pen to manipulate it. However, when I put the diamonds around it, it will also straighten it up a bit. I don't mind if they're a little bit off, but if they're a lot off, I feel like I have to mess about with them. Anyway, on to your questions. I think I've covered what I'm doing, what I'm working on at the moment. I know I have recently, I think today, as I'm filming this, the video has gone live of the completed LED painting, and a lot of people have said wow quick, and that is because it was kitted up on a video only a few days before. I think that painting did only take me about a week to complete, maybe even a little bit less than a week, but the videos did go up in a shorter sequence than the time it actually took me, and that is because I tend to film at a weekend. So for example, this weekend I have filmed 2 unboxing videos, and I have filmed 3 kitting up videos, and then this WIP and Chat that I'm doing now. I tend to find that works the best for me. So throughout the week when I finish work, because I'm working from home, I can sit down, diamond paint, chill, and know that videos are going up for you guys all the time. And then at the weekend, especially because I can't go out anywhere, I tend to have half a day where I film. You know, I'll potter about the house. So I've done 4 loads of washing today because the sun's come out, and I'll do all that in between filming and stuff, and I tend to find that that works best for me. If I put every video up more real time, there would be bigger gaps, and I don't want that. But at the same point, I do want you guys to be able to have something that is very up to date, and that's why I'm trying to introduce these bonus WIP chats, which will vary, because the idea of also videoing in bulk is that some weekends I will not video at all, and therefore I want to still be able to have videos that you guys can watch, and some videos take longer. So the Heaven and Earth design video that I know everybody wants on the process of ordering, that could potentially take me a lot longer to film. So I want to make sure that I have the other videos to fill the gaps in between. Yeah, so these WIP and chats, I'm going to try and keep these pretty much real time for now. It may change, but for now I'm going to try and keep them pretty much real time, and then have my schedule of the other types of videos for you. But I do have a Facebook group now. I did wonder whether it was worth doing, because there are a few out there, but I have found it absolutely amazing. It is great that people can ask questions about videos or ask questions that they're unsure of, and people are there to answer. And if I've got the time to go on and answer, I'll also do that. It's still nice to read, to see what all you guys are doing. But I feel that people can get answers to their questions quicker, because they're a good bunch. They're a good, helpful bunch. So feel free to join that group if you want. The only rule at the moment is to play nice. We don't really have any other rules. And yeah, anyway, let me have a drink and then I'll get to your questions. Don't forget, also please ask any questions in this video. Ask your questions below and I'll answer them on my next WIP and chat. If it's an urgent one, still put your question below, but then also put it in the Facebook group so that people can answer you straight away, and then I'll give you my answer on the next WIP and chat. Or I may well reply to comments and give answers as well, depending on time allowance. And that's what a lot of it depends on, is whether I have the time to be able to go on and answer a lot of questions. Because, yeah, I am working from home, and that can take up a lot of my time. So, first question. Well, the first one is actually for tips on working on a large painting. And then I think somebody else asked, somebody else asked if there was any problems with doing the inner bit of a large painting. So I've worked on quite a few large paintings, and my main tip, because I actually work on a table that is, what size is it? It's probably about the size of a 30 by 40 painting. That's probably the easiest sort of measurement. It might be a little bit bigger, but it's about a 30 by 40 size is the table I work on in my front room. It is not huge at all. but I will work on any painting on that table. Actually, maybe it is a bit bigger. Maybe it's more 40 by 50. If you put a 40 by 50 landscape, that's probably the size of my table. It is a small table in the grand scheme of things, but I've tried a bigger one and I've gone back to the smaller one because I find it works better for me. So for large paintings, I love pipe lagging. I'm trying to think if I have any handy. Okay, so this is pipe lagging. It comes sort of so that you can slit it down the side, looks like that. It comes in a long tube, similar to a pool noodle but not as thick. A pool noodle tends to be about this thick. Sorry, let me zoom you out. Which way am I going? That way. So yeah, that's a piece of pipe lagging. This one has already been trimmed down. It does come longer than this. I've picked this up from B&Q. You can basically pick it up probably any DIY store. It's basically for covering a pipe to keep the heat in or the cold in or whatever they use it for. But a length probably at least twice the length of this one. If not a bit more, was like £1.19. I love these for diamond paintings because you can tuck the top part in where, on my tray stuck to it, where you've not got any sticky. So on a big painting you can imagine this works better. And then you can roll it round. So I do use it on my Heaven and Earth designs as well, and of course I've trimmed them down smaller because the painting's not, it's more in length that it's long than in width. And I find using that is the best. So if I'm working on a really large painting, I will always have it rolled up. I will try and roll it up from both ends. So of course at the beginning I will just roll up what I'm not working on, and then of course I will start rolling up the section that I've done. And I tend to work primarily from the top. Sometimes I'll work it sideways. So the Alice paintings I worked sideways because that was the shortest side. And therefore it was the easiest way to do it. But I will roll a diamond painting onto that lagging, and quite often I will just rest on my lap the diamond painting that has not been done. So the section that's not been done will rest on my lap. The rest is on my table for me to work on, and then when I start rolling it up from the other side that's been done, that will just sit on my table and I will continue working on it that way. So that's how I work with them. Therefore, I don't find I have a problem with the inner part. So I don't do one end and the other end and then wonder what to do with the middle. I start from one section and work my way down. And I can still do that even on my small table. Of course, if it's longer than my table, then of course I will maybe start at one corner and a little bit will be overhanging, but the pipe lagging stops it from sagging and bending, and then I will scoot it over and then I'll scoot it over again. I tend to find that works. Before now I have used a jigsaw board to make my table bigger so that it could cope with a big painting, but that was prior to me using the pipe lagging. I find the pipe lagging's the best way now. It's also great for storing paintings when you're done. Stops the weight of the diamond squashing the painting. And I tend to cut it a little bit shorter than what the painting is, so the painting will hang over a little bit, but then I will put either a bulldog clip like this on the end, to stop it unravelling, or I use a paper clip. One or the other, just something to stop it unravelling. You know when you roll something up and then you let go and it just goes, yeah, stops it doing that. The slit keeps hold of the canvas, because of course you end up with a lot bigger border quite often on a bigger painting than you would do on the likes of this small one. Just slots in there and rolls. And they're cheap enough. They're cheap enough to pick up for each and every painting that you do. Of course, apart from a lockdown, so I have just pinched that pipe lagging out of my Diamond Art Club painting so that I can show you. But in turn, I'm going to be taking that into my front room to use for the big painting I'm working on at the moment, because I've just been rolling it but without the pipe lagging at the moment. But I'm getting to that point where I've done more and it's getting a little bit more awkward. But yeah, that's the way that I work, and I don't find that that really causes a problem, because I'm not leaning on and having it bent over the diamonds that have been done. I find that the canvas is fine. It's fine for me working on, especially if it's poured glue, but even if it's not, I find it works. My Heaven and Earth Designs is the trickiest one, and that is because quite often I'm doing it on a WIP and Chat, so I've not got the right angle to sit it on my lap. But when I'm working in the front room, it's just sat on my lap. Just sits there and rests. And I just have to remember to move it before I stand up. Somebody did ask on my last WIP and Chat whether I put the grid on the Heaven and Earth Designs canvas myself. Yes, I did. Which is why the lines aren't straight, just in case you're wondering. Quite often they're not. Yeah, if a company did lines like that, I'd be shocked. I use a permanent marker in a 0.75 millimeters. This one is an Edding 8404. Somebody recommended this one to me on Amazon, because my original one, which I think came from a company, maybe it did, maybe it didn't, I don't know, it was named Corporate Express, it started running out. Now I've had this for years and years. I used to use it for writing my numbers for cross stitch on my bobbins, so I've been using it for ages. But this is the one that somebody recommended for me from Amazon. But the trick is it's 0.75, it's thin, so that you can draw the lines without them, of course. I mean, you can use a thin Sharpie. But yeah, I drew them on myself because the canvas I happen to have didn't come with the grid lines. And I didn't know it wouldn't come with the grid lines. So in the future, I will be more than likely trying to find a company that includes the grid lines, just because it looks nicer. Okay, so another question. Somebody did ask a series of 4 questions. I've sort of answered one of them, but they did ask the biggest square painting I've ever, biggest diamond painting, or is it square painting? Anyway, the answer's the same for both. So I think the biggest painting I've ever done, well actually I've got down here that it was the Alice in Wonderland, which was 80 by 120. But I'm actually not sure if my blossom tree was bigger. It was bigger. Okay, so I recently did a completed view of my blossom tree, and that was 75 by 150. It's hung up in my front room. I really love the way that painting turned out. So that was 150 by 75, so it was a little bit thinner. Otherwise it was the Alice one that was 80 by 120. They are probably the biggest paintings that I've done, not including my Heaven and Earth Designs, which may I think it's only about 35 centimetres across, but the Heaven and Earth Designs picture is actually 2.5 meters in length. It's long, people. It's long. The blossom tree is the biggest painting that I have framed and hung in my house, in my front room. The Alice paintings I did purely for the comparison. They do not have a place to go, but the blossom tree does, and I absolutely love it where it is. I actually like the fact that it is a simple design in a big space. So yeah, that's probably the biggest one, apart from as Save My Heaven and Earth Designs, which again, that also doesn't have a home. So, okay, so I'm going to turn my tray round so that I have more diamonds closer to me. And I've done the bulk of this now in a checkerboard. Is the camera going to focus? Focus, focus. There we go. So I've done the bulk of this in the checkerboard, which means when I go in for all the gaps now, they should just plop in. Let me get it to focus again. So yeah, now I can just plop them in, and some of the gaps may feel bigger than others, but you tend to find that it nudges any diamonds that are in the wrong place. You'll end up nudging them in. I do tend to start putting them in at an angle and then push them in straight. So I'm going in at an angle and then I tend to push them straight. I tend to find it fits. Ooh, it went flying. It just helps them to slot in nicely, and you get that nice click. Just get a little click, and you get to see the picture start to come to life properly. So yeah, that's the checkerboard method if anybody is interested. It's handy to do when you have a very big block of colour. I do like doing it. You can also do random patterns with it, so that can be quite entertaining. If you've got a nice big block of colour, you can break up the boredom. So do you remember the game where you used to have a ball that used to bob up and down, and you used to have to slide your little thing across the bottom so it could bounce? So yeah, quite often I will, if it's bigger than this, I will go up and then it will hit what I call a wall of my section, and then I'll bounce it another way, bounce it another way, and you can keep going and sort of creating little patterns in your diagonal lines, and then fill the gaps in the same sort of way. So that can be fun. Okay, what other questions have we got? So I'm going up and down a bit on these questions. I don't know why, but I am. What is one good thing that I've experienced or accomplished during lockdown? This can sometimes make me slightly jealous, though I know I shouldn't be. I should feel blessed. But I sometimes do feel slightly jealous of those that haven't worked during lockdown. I say I should feel blessed. I am working, I'm getting paid, my job continues, and I am in no way disregarding my fortune for that, but also that there is the little bit of the green-eyed monster of those that have been able to remain getting paid, albeit a little bit less than they would normally get on the UK scheme of 80% of your wages, which can be a big chunk to lose. And as I say, I'm not belittling that at all. For some people, I can understand that that is very, very hard. But there has been a little bit of jealousy for people getting paid and being able to get all those jobs done around the house. I work in an office, and when this first started in the UK, we weren't quite in lockdown, but it was heading that way. It was a matter of when the country would go in lockdown, and due to my personal circumstances, it was a little bit more dangerous for me to be in the office than others. And I did have I went home from work one evening. I mean the whole week before I'd not gone anywhere but work because of the situation. But I got a call that evening saying, okay, you're now no longer coming in the office. You know, you're no longer expected to, we'll sort something out. And I had 2.5 days of not working, being paid but not working. And I got loads done on that first day. My house was beautiful. And then, you know, work had already started making arrangements, but the arrangements were finalised for me to work from home. And yeah, 2.5 days later, I was back working full time, but from home. And I haven't accomplished anywhere near as much as I did on that first day and a half, first 2.5 days. My house at that time was spotless. It's not quite been the same since. So yeah, part of me is a little bit jealous, though I probably would have not accomplished as much as I wanted to if I was off work. To be fair, I probably would have gone into a little bit of a lazy moment and thought, I've got time, I'll do it later. So I can't say I've particularly accomplished anything. It has been quite hard adapting to home working. There are many pluses to it, and I've had this conversation with my manager at work. Working from home and having the opportunity to work from home is a blessing. I think it's absolutely fantastic. But being teamed up with not being allowed out the house at any other time makes it hard. I think one or the other I would have found a lot easier. So either, you know, no pandemic, no COVID, whatever else, something happens in the office, you're all working from home. Okay, great. Would absolutely love it. Work from home, you know, not have to deal with the commute, get better coffee, better than the work canteen coffee anyway. You know, have all those benefits, but still life is normal around you. Or the other opposite, which is the pandemic, you can't go out anywhere, but you also can't work. I think I would have coped with that fine as well. Well, in effect, we have. I think it was made harder by the two things at once. So adapting to work from home, but also not being able to go out for anything else. But I have experienced a lot of kindness. And that's probably been a very big plus. So there was a good few weeks. I don't know how many weeks it was exactly. I think it was about 3. Because I work in an industry that is classed as essential. Financial services departments had to stay open. There was a period of time where I was working from home and the rest of the team were working from the office. And the help, you know, and the support and stuff that came from that was fantastic. You know, there would be many, I'm sure many of you would know people or colleagues who could potentially have a problem with somebody being allowed to work from home when they're not, or, you know, whether that would be their green-eyed monster, you know, and maybe they were a little bit jealous, and I wouldn't blame them at the time, but that was never expressed towards me. They were very, very supportive, which was awesome. I've also had phone calls from the government. I've had phone calls from my doctors. In fact, I've had multiple. I even had one 2 days ago. Just checking, even though I'd already said I'm fine, I've got family members, I've got support, you know, give it to those who need it type answer. You know, I'm going to be all right, mate. Sort out those that aren't, and they've still phoned up to check. I've found my daughter's school, one teacher in particular, but all of them have been great, have been fantastic. My youngest daughter, basically when it was announced that the schools were closed, it was announced that she was no longer doing her GCSEs as an exam. All exams were cancelled, and her past 6 months, if not more, of her life had been around studying. You know, she did take breaks and she did do things with her friends, but she was very, very conscious of exams coming up, test exams coming up. She was very much, a lot of her life was focused around her schoolwork and getting that done. And all of a sudden that was taken away from her. But when the announcement came, you know, there were teachers straight there on their like Google Classroom platform, straight there, you know, reassuring a bunch of 16-year-olds that everything's going to be all right. And you know, some of the effort that people have put in to help people, communities, you know, all different aspects. It's affected everybody differently, and you can't belittle the way it's affected one person because it's affected somebody else what you consider to be worse. I think I watched Jason Manford's model class on the BBC last night. I don't know if everybody's seen it. It may be something that, of course, those that aren't in the UK will know nothing about. But if you're able to see Jason Manford's model class, he says it perfectly. Sort of at the end of it, he does touch on mental health, and you know, as far as each individual person is concerned, their problems are the biggest. They are. And, you know, you can't belittle somebody's problems because yours are bigger. I'm not saying, you know, I'm not saying you should take everybody's small problem and try and fix it. That's not it at all. But every person's problems will always seem the biggest and the hardest to them. He puts it so much better than I do. Because they can feel their problems. They can't feel somebody else's problems. They can empathise, but they can't feel. So your own problems are always going to feel big. And I think there has been people out there that have been helping, you know, maybe problems that they empathise with more, they can understand more, but there have been so many people out there that have been helping others, and I just thank each and every one of them. Even a small comment or a quick phone call can make such a huge difference. Okay, I'm just going to pause because this memory card is about to save. Okay, I'm back. I think I just beat the memory card. I caught it within seconds of it saving itself. So yeah, I don't think I've accomplished anything. Hey, I'm still here. I'm still working. I've not quit my job or gone into a hole. So I'll class that as accomplishing. But I have experienced, you know, and seen, and of course you see on Facebook and on the news and whatever else. And I just try and focus on the positive things that people have done. And hey, I'm allowed to go out my house once a day now. So things are on the up. Okay, let me find my next number. I've just realised I've got a Z that I've missed. So I'm just going to pop my pen in and do that one. It's stuck up the top. The Z is the highest number, so I do have it. I did have it in 3 tubs, but I've used the other tub up, so I've only got it in 2 now. So I think, now this is where, when you've got a bit of confetti, that I sort of like to get a plan on how I'm going to work things. And I say a plan, it changes every time. It's just something that you say to yourself. So I will either say to myself, right, I'm going to work on whatever is the next letter that comes up going this way, you know, to make sure that I've done all the lines and coming up to that way. And then and sometimes I do it up from the bottom. So on this instance, I'm going to do it up from the bottom. So the next one is the number 3. So I'm just going to do the number 3, and then I'm going to work up and see what's next. So that was a very deep question, wasn't it? Okay, what's next? Have I ever tried hanging a diamond painting outside? Nope. The UK weather has never made me even think of hanging a diamond painting outside. I question anything that gets put outside a lot of the time. Even the likes of garden furniture you have to question before it goes outside. No, I've not thought of it. I'm guessing if you put one outside, I mean, you know, the diamonds themselves are waterproof because they're plastic. You know, they would, oh, that didn't work. So I just put a square on and it went completely skewy. So I've just taken it off, it's easier. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought the plastic itself would get affected. The glue potentially could. I suppose a lot of it depends on whether it's undercover or not. I'd possibly look at sealing it. But yeah, I don't really know with that one. British weather-wise, I don't think it would last. I suppose it would depend the reason you would want it outside. You know, is it decoration in your garden? Is it, you know, mainly for the summer and then you bring it in? Is it a huge diamond painting that you've done a lot of work on? Or is it something that you would potentially consider doing a new one for next year? If it came to that. Maybe that's something that, you know, it would fit out in a nice place. But then you could do another one a different year. I mean, there must be some sort of frames that you can get that can withstand rain. You know, they use them for advertising, don't they, and things like that. But I'm guessing that would be some sort of specialist frame to be able to put something inside it that could stay waterproof. I don't know. Okay, next question. How did you start to be a YouTuber DPer? YouTube DP. So I originally started this channel just doing some scrapbook layouts, scrapbook was my hobby. I like helping people with hobbies and, you know, teaching them things that they may not have known. I've always enjoyed doing that. So I started off YouTubing for scrapbooking. I've been a scrapbooker for over 18 years. I have had a period of time before where I sort of didn't really do any for a couple of years, and it's sort of been the same for the last couple of years. I've not really done any. I think it's because all my children have pretty much grown up now. And while I still enjoy documenting them, I think I got more out of it when they were younger and documenting their younger years. So maybe when it comes to the point of having grandchildren, I'll pick it up again. It's definitely not something I'm saying never to, because I've taken a break for a couple of years before and come back to it. But I found diamond painting, I think I spotted it first on a Facebook advert, but I can be very wary of buying things off a Facebook advert. So I saw it, liked the look of it, and then went. And I actually ended up picking up one from Amazon to give it a go. So I wanted to see if I'd like it, and I did. So then I ordered some off AliExpress. I think I joined a couple of groups on Facebook, you know, read and learnt. I didn't ask a lot of questions. I'm very much I'll read it all and then see if I need to ask any questions, but I learn a lot from reading other people's questions and answers. So yeah, I then went and ordered off AliExpress, and then because diamond painting sort of took over the time I would be doing scrapbooking, and scrapbooking lost a little bit of the spark, I decided to start replacing the scrapbooking videos that I was putting up with diamond painting videos instead. There wasn't many YouTubers out there doing diamond painting. I think there was only really one that I watched, which was Ellen. Is it Kicking Cancer's Butt and Diamond Painting? Her YouTube. I think that was the only real one that I watched. There was definitely others about, but I think that was the only one I watched pretty much all the videos she put up. And yeah, because it was becoming a hobby that replaced scrapbooking, I was like, oh, well, we'll do some videos on this, because there's not as many people that do videos on diamond painting as there is on scrapbooking. And scrapbooking, while I did okay with my videos, it was, you know, I was nowhere near like, you know, high up in the scrapbooking world type thing. My scrapbooking was different, not so much different. It didn't have a special, unique style, I think, to attract as many subscribers. Or maybe it did, maybe it would have done, you know, I hadn't been doing it that long. It was actually my scrapbooking organisation videos that seemed to do really well. They were the most popular. But yeah, because my love for scrapbooking had dwindled a little bit, I say, I'm never saying never. I'm not getting rid of all my scrapbooking supplies, because I'm sure it will come back. Yeah, I just decided to replace those videos with diamond painting ones, and it took off. And I've sort of not stopped since. And you guys keep coming back for more, so I keep making more. And that's sort of the way it's gone. I can't even remember if my camera and light setup that I've done. Did I do that? Did I get my better camera while I was scrapbooking, or whether it was while I was diamond painting? I can't remember. I really can't. I'll probably have to go back through my videos to watch and see. So yeah, I just sort of started. Even when I started scrapbooking, I just sort of started. But I did pay attention to the lighting that other people used on their videos and things like that, to find out what made a video nicer to watch than others. Though sometimes mine don't get there because I ramble too much, but or say too much or something, but it seems to be working. Okay, somebody asked, again, this is another question, when I was doing my Heaven and Earth Designs WIP and Chat, which was my last one, is how did I get the pattern onto the tablet? And they also said, what app is it that you're using? So what they're on about is this. So my Heaven and Earth Designs that I do, the pattern is on my Huawei tablet. And that's where I see basically the symbols that are showing on this show on here for my Heaven and Earth Designs, and then I put them on my blank canvas. So this app, let me see if I can, this is where I forget how to work this tablet, because all I ever use it for is this app. So the app is called Pattern Keeper. You do get a free trial, and then you do have to pay for it. But it is a cross stitch pattern reader. It reads it from the PDF. So not all company PDFs work, but basically I bought my pattern from Heaven and Earth Designs, and it is a supported designer for the Pattern Keeper app. I saved it onto my Google Drive. I opened it up in the app, and boom, there was my pattern. So that's how I got my pattern on the tablet, and that is the app that I use, Pattern Keeper. Absolute life changer. It has made the Heaven and Earth design process so much nicer, easier, quicker. Yeah, it just makes it a pleasure to work on. Tells me how many diamonds I might have left to place, all sorts. Okay, my battery is about to go, so I'm going to change my battery and then come back to you, and I think I've got one more question and I'll try and get this wrapped up. Okay, battery's changed. I don't even know how long I've been chatting, but I get the feeling this isn't going to be a short video. Okay, last question that I've got written down from, as I say, the last video. So if you've got any questions you want to ask, pop them in this video, and hopefully if I get to do a WIP and Chat next week, which is dependent because we are moving my eldest daughter from her flat home. Not that I'm allowed to go and do it, but I'm sure I will still be busy. Yeah, next WIP and Chat that I get to do, I will of course answer the questions, and I'm hoping to get at least one a week done, but we'll see how that goes. So last one, do you do section by section or bigger bits? So more often than not I will do section by section, and within that section I will do colour by colour. So very similar to what I've done with this one. I've done all of that colour, and then I've moved on to do all the other colours until that section's finished. I've actually found that I quite like this size of a section. So this is 3 inches by 2 inches. It's some cover sheets that I got and I've cut them down. I normally quite like that for a size of a section. I find it takes me hour and a half to do, depending on the design and how much confetti it is. Also depending on whether it's round or square. But that's sort of my go-to size. And I tend to work section by section. And within that section, colour by colour, either picking a colour that starts in the corner and then I do all that, or if it is very heavy on one particular colour, I will do, you know, the symbol that pops out at me the most first. But occasionally I do like to mix it up a bit, and I think that is just to stop it being boring, or maybe it's to challenge myself. There is no right or wrong way. You do what works for you. But occasionally on a small painting like this, for example, I will actually do it all and do a colour. So because this has this single Z colour all the way round, I would do all of that colour, and then I would pick whatever colour shouts out at me in the middle, and do the whole thing colour by colour. But that's just to vary it up every now and then. It's not a given, it's not what you have to do. Some people prefer to work on smaller sections than I do. You know, maybe it's due to time constraints, so they feel like they're accomplishing something if they get to finish a section, and they might not have as much time, so therefore the section they pick is smaller. That diamond's got a little bit of something extra stuck on it, so I think I've only got one left to do. Yeah. There's no right way or wrong way. You do really just do what works for you. But yeah, as a general rule, I pick a section and then I do it colour by colour. And quite often I will pick a point. So, for example, here at the bottom, and I will start with that colour and do it in the whole section. Then I will move across to whatever the next colour is, or the next colour that's missing. So in this case it was over here, and I will do all that colour and then I'll move across. But sometimes, especially when it's got shading around the edges, I might pick the colour that keeps the diamonds the closest together before I start filling in the rest. A lot just depends on my mood. Depends on my mood and depends on the painting. But yeah, just do what works for you. I don't mind, with this smaller section, I don't mind, even though I'm right-handed, starting in the left-hand corner, because the section is small enough that, you know, even if my hand does get close, it's not particularly sitting on the sticky part. I mean, quite often I think I did it going down here, but you can always fold it over into half that size, and then you can completely rest your hand on it while you're doing the whole part. Do what works for you. I just had a minute then trying to remember what colour I was doing. But yeah, that's all the questions that I found on my WIP and Chat from last week, and any that were in my Facebook group. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below to give me something to talk about next WIP and Chat. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed seeing me doing something a little bit different. Maybe I will crack open a round painting next time. Maybe we'll discuss something else and do something else. I don't know, part of that I allow my mood to take me. I thought it would be nice to do something that's a little bit different to the Heaven and Earth designs for a WIP and Chat, even though I do know that you all like to see the progress of the Heaven and Earth designs, and I will make sure to, you know, to keep that as one of the things that is included in the WIP and Chats. But I also want to get these smaller paintings done, because that in turn is a video that I want to show you all. And my Heaven and Earth designs is most definitely a long-term project, because it is 2.5 meters long. But yeah, once I've got the other big painting that I've been doing done, I'm sure I will be able to get, you know, more progress done on that. And then possibly at other times. I've just spotted another Z that I missed. See, that's the only thing when it gets confetti-ish, is you find the odd one you've missed, but that's the handy part about just sticking your pen in. So there we go. I think we've done quite well on that one for today. It will probably be a different one next time, because I will be cracking on and doing some of this in the front room now, before I work on my big one again. But yeah, I don't want to be talking anymore. I think I've talked for quite a while. I'm going to go sit on my comfy couch and do a little bit more. But I hope you're all well. I hope you're all, you know, giving yourself a fair break during this time. Things are not easy, things are not the best, and every now and then we do just want to shout, scream, spit our dummy out, and then get on with it after that. But yeah, take care of yourself, realise that other people are struggling too, and you know, while you may not have the strength to help them, depending on your own current situation, give them a little bit of leeway so that they can, you know, pull themselves back together at the same time that, you know, you're coping with your own. And if you can help, help. But one day at a time, people. We are all dealing with this madness. We are all dealing differently. And it is hard for everybody in different ways. And yeah, take care of yourselves and stay safe. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.